This year marks the 45th anniversary of Destroyer, also the 45th anniversary of Rock and Roll Over and the 40th of Music from the Elder, but Destroyer is the one being celebrated with a big box set. The set includes a new remaster of the original album, 2 bonus discs of demos, outtakes and alternate mixes, a live show from the Destroyer tour in Paris, and a Blu-ray copy of the album mixed by Steve Wilson for Dolby Atmos and 5.1 surround sound. There are a couple different versions. You can get the remastered album on CD or vinyl with samplings of the bonus material. What I got was the big box set, which also includes a big book and some cool inserts. In terms of the remaster itself, disc 1, I think it sounds really good. It's loud and powerful. The drums are just a tiny bit low in my headphones, but nothing too problematic. I might prefer the sonics of the 2012 Destroyer Resurrected remix Bob Ezrin did, but if you're looking for a straight remaster that doesn't tinker with anything, this is definitely an upgrade. Destroyer is an incredible album, and I think this drives that point home. So if you don't want to spend the $200 on the fancy set, I would at least recommend the remaster in some way. I will complain that the big box set does not include a vinyl copy of the remaster, which I think is a mistake. I want to hear how the remaster sounds on vinyl, but I don't want to double dip, and I already own 3 copies of Destroyer on vinyl. Alright, moving on to disc 2, we're going to do the track-by-track format since this is mostly stuff I haven't talked about. These are all demos, the first 5 are Paul's, and the remainder are Gene's. And I imagine all of Gene's were on the vault, but it's nice to have for those of us who didn't want to pay $2,000 for demos. This was previously released on the 2001 box set, so no need to go over it again. I will say it's really fun and sounds good. This was also on the box set. Sound quality has improved, and it still is interesting to hear how much the song changed. A few years back, a handful of demos leaked online. This song was one of them, which we called Smoke, alongside Mistake and the original Detroit Rock City demo. Other demos might have leaked around the same time, but these are the ones I remember being the most excited about. The song is really fun and catchy as hell. I adore this song. It's a hidden gem for sure, and it sounds better than the version I had, which is nice. I understand why it didn't make the cut of Destroyer. It doesn't really fit, but I think it could have been reworked later on. This is the original pre-Ezrin demo, and it's always been fascinating to hear. It's almost a punk rock song. It's so cool, and it's fascinating to see how much of an influence Ezrin had on the band. The song isn't really finished. There are no lyrics outside of the repeated "Love is Alright" chorus. I wonder why it was abandoned, because the guitars are kind of cool and it has a nice groove. It's nothing amazing, but it could have become something cool later on. This song was also on the box set, but this might be a different version. More lead work, maybe. It's an early version of Calling Dr. Love, and it's fun to hear again. A lot of Gene's demos here wound up on his 1978 solo album. Gene and Paul have very different writing styles. Paul will often write for the album once he has the tone figured out, and if something isn't working or he just doesn't like it, he'll discard it and he hardly ever revisits it. Gene, on the other hand, would just write all the time. No idea was a bad idea, throwing shit at the wall basically, and he never lets anything go. Of Gene's 10 demos on disc 2, 3 songs wound up reworked significantly on Rock and Roll Over, 3 ended up on his solo album, and a riff from one was used on Destroyer. The demo isn't too different from the album version. It's such a good chorus, and it's cool to hear the demo, but I prefer the album version. This has a slightly different drum beat than the one I'm used to. This song would later become Ladies' Room. It's not a great chorus, but the demo led to something great. I don't know, it's tough to review demos because by their nature they're inferior versions of what we got. they're rough drafts, so I can't really be too judgmental about them. My feelings on this are basically the same as the album version. The verses are really boring and uninspired, but the chorus is decent. It's a shame he didn't work on this more because the album version isn't much better. This is an early version of Love 'Em and Leave 'Em. This is pretty boring and lame, but it's cool that Gene was able to make something great out of it. I love Love 'Em and Leave 'Em. Talked about it in my box set review. Ezrin was smart to use that cool riff and nothing else. I've always seen this circulated as Nightfly, so it's kind of funny to learn the actual title. It's real boring. I got nothing. This riff is kind of familiar, but I can't place it. The demo is pretty forgettable. It's in one ear and out the other. This one has a cool little riff and a catchy chorus. I don't love the lyrics, but it's a fun song. Should have been on the 78 album. You can hear the cool bass line on this. I think it's a lot better than the album version. Not my favorite song or anything, but it's not bad. So disc 3 is comprised of a bunch of alternate mixes and things. So I'm not going to go track by track as that would be kind of boring. But there are a few things I did want to mention. There is a new acoustic version of Beth that is just the piano and acoustic guitar and Peter's voice. This was the first thing released from the set, and I wasn't too crazy about it, but it's grown on me. It's kinda nice and intimate. Not my preferred version of this song, but it's fine. There are single mixes of Shout It Out Loud, Flaming Youth, and Detroit Rock City. The Shout It Out Loud one might be sped up a little. It seems faster. I love it. The Detroit Rock City one is notoriously abysmal. The editing is just awful and actually makes me kind of mad. So bad. There are also mono edits of the singles. There are several instrumental versions of the song, and those are kind of cool, getting to hear the instruments without the vocals over them. And the King of the Nighttime World one is a live rehearsal, which is pretty neat. The best of the instrumentals are the two ones of Beth. It's a great piano piece, and the strings are really pretty. Almost sounds like a piece from a film score. That's the main thing from this disc that I will listen to a lot. The early versions of Great Expectations and Flaming Youth are interesting as more simplified versions and very slightly different lyrics. The weirdest part of this disc is Ain't None of Your Business. It's a country rock song written by Becky Hobbs and Lou Anderson. Ezrin suggested they try it out with Peter singing, and it didn't make the album. What's weird is why is this on disc 3 and not with the other demos on disc 2? It's a cool song. I love Peter's voice, and it sounds better than the copy I had. I get why it didn't end up on Destroyer, but Peter should have used it for a solo album. Disc 4 is a live recording in Paris during the European Destroyer tour. I saw some complaints because this is not a soundboard recording, but an audience one. And this is a show that has been bootlegged for a long time as Stoned in Paris. And some people claim there are bootlegs of this show that sound better than this. This is my first time hearing this show, so I can't really comment on that. I will say it is disappointing that they didn't include a soundboard. Why not include Anaheim either as a CD or a Blu-ray? Maybe there's a legal reason, but other than that, it's too significant and too good of a show not to include. But I enjoyed this disc. It's not the best audio quality, but I've heard worse. The concert is intense, loud, and messy. There's so much energy here, and it's infectious. The highlights for me are Flaming Youth, because it's just cool to have an official live release of that song, and Hotter Than Hell, which I think just smokes. Ace and Peter are really good on this show. I think there's some really good drumming. As I said, the Blu-ray features a new mix. This is something I can't really review because I don't have the sound equipment that this mix is meant for. I played it through my 4K TV, but I don't have any kind of sound system. If you want to recommend one that won't financially cripple me in the comments, feel free. Playing it through my TV, it sounded a little weird. The volume would fluctuate throughout. I thought Great Expectations sounded good, lots of clarity in the instruments, and I liked the motion graphics. I didn't think there would be any kind of visual element to the disc, so that was a cool surprise. I'm not going to go super in-depth into the packaging and goodies. There are unboxing videos out there if you just want to see what's in it. For me, the surprise of it was a little fun. The book is great, a quick read, and I really enjoyed the interviews with photographer Barry Levine. I love that the remaster and live disc are made to look like a Casablanca vinyl, while the 2 demo discs are made to look like real tapes. Great design there. The inserts are great, fantastic photos of the band, and 2 really great posters that I will probably frame. It's really cool and exciting if you're kind of a nerdy collector. Overall, I am very happy with this set. It's a completely reasonable price, which is sometimes rare for this band. And I definitely have minor complaints. I listed most of them throughout. They're small things that keep the set from being excellent. It's great, but it could have been better.
Life is good, but it can be better.
I do understand if you're looking for material that has never been released or heard, you're going to be disappointed if you're someone that regularly seeks out Kiss bootlegs and demos. And again, I imagine most of Gene's demos were on his vault. But if you're a more casual Kiss fan interested in looking into demos, this could be a cool starting point. And I just think it's really great that songs like It's the Fire and Ain't None of Your Business got an official release in decent quality. Overall, I think this is awesome. It's definitely the most exciting Legacy release in a good 15 years. The most exciting thing outside of new albums that has happened since the Kissology DVDs. If Kiss is going to be a nostalgia act, which they have been since 1996, this is the kind of effort I want in projects. Metallica does similar box sets, but they've been doing that one at a time, coinciding with each album's 30th anniversary, this year being the Black albums. Universal started with Destroyer because they probably don't have much faith in Kiss stuff selling, and this is the safest bet. So hopefully it does well. We know a second set is in the works, but whether or not it happens kind of depends on how the Destroyer one does. I want one for every album, but I am curious what the second choice would be. So I really recommend the set or even just the remaster if you don't want to spend the money. But you can still check out the music through Apple and Spotify and all that. And I think it's worth it. Some really cool stuff. Let me know what you think of this set in the comments, and also what albums you think should also get a deluxe treatment and what you think should be included in them.